Your King 3 report has been recognized as a significant and very important step forward also for the public relations profession. And your Chapter 8 specifically is the one that deals with stakeholder relationships. What is the role of the board of directors in stakeholder relationships, according to you?
Well, I believe there should be an item on the agenda of every board meeting, stakeholder relationships. And management should be reporting to the board how they are relating to the stakeholders and the stakeholders to the company. Because at the moment there is a gap. And the important thing is to close that gap between the interests and expectations of the stakeholders and the company's performance and the company, what it believes, it's the perception, what its perception is. Because the perception of the stakeholder might be completely different from what the company is doing. And therefore this impacts on the company's strategy. And the closer you get together, the better will be the strategy of the company for its long-term sustainability.
And when the board reviews its stakeholder relationships, and stakeholders often have conflicting interests, who decides which of the conflicting interests deserves more attention?
Well, the answer is neither deserves more attention. You've got to weigh them up. Your guiding principle is the best interests of the incapacitated corporate person in the company. That's your guiding principle. But you've got to balance the interests of the stakeholders. Let's say the employee wants an increase in salary. Well, you can increase his salary, but that's going to impact on your customer because you're going to add that to the price. You've got to balance.
Or to the dividend.
Or to the dividend, to the state, or to the shareholders. You've got to balance these things, but always what is in the best interest, that's your guiding principle.
So the management of the company should report to the board on its stakeholder relationship policies.
Absolutely.
Which are decided by the board.
That's why I say it should be a regular item on the board agenda. And the board should be constantly aware what that relationship is. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it poor? Because when the unexpected risk happens, for example, an oil spill in the Mexican Gulf, you should be ready to deal with these things. And if you understand the interests and expectations of your stakeholders better, and you're close together, you actually get the support of your stakeholders to help you overcome this problem.
And when you mentioned before in your speech that the communicator or public relator, or however you want to call him, her or him, needs to be independent, should be independent. You're clearly making an analogy with the auditors or other forms of, shall we say, third party. But the communicator is an employee of the company, or manager, whatever it is of the company. And his loyalty is to the company. How do you envisage that?
This is an eternal problem because the rating agents, S&P, Fitch, they're paid by the company. And yet you and I depend on some of their opinions in order to make investment decisions, for example. Now, one of the discussions at the moment arising in the financial crisis, how do you get them to be and to be seen to be independent? Now, logically, intellectually logically, the interactive stakeholder communicator, the more independent he or she is, the more credence he or she has, and the closer he or she will get the company and the stakeholder together. So we have to accept at the moment he or she is going to be an employee of the company. And that's why some companies are actually taking their communication strategists, taking them out of the office building of the company, putting them in a separate office to give them this appearance of independence in dealing with the stakeholder.
And I also want very much to congratulate you and compliment you, and I'm very happy that you did this initiative that you're taking for the integrated reporting. Coffee table books are gone. I think that we should stop doing these horrible sustainability reports that I personally have been involved in as much as anybody else. And nobody reads these things. So you see a a one report? How do you see it? Is it multi-channel? Is it ongoing? Is it annual? What is it?
The
What does it look like?
Harvard Business School is called One Report, and they say it should be in one report. I say it doesn't have to be in one report, but when you and I as the user reads this in clear, understandable language, you and I must be able to see that the board has applied its mind to the sustainability issues critical to the business of the company as water is to a brewery, if that is the business, and that it's integrated into the long-term sustainable strategic thinking of the company. Having read all that, and then at the financial results, then you and I can make an informed assessment about the future sustainability of the business. Otherwise, in the world that we live in at the moment, the new economy as I call it, we can't make that assessment.
Okay.